I regret I'm not able to make you work on Sundays, to be honest. If I can make you work on Sundays, I'll be more happier. Because I work on Sundays also. What do you do sitting at home? How long can you stare at your wife? How long can the wife stare at your husband? Come on, get to the office and start working.
Our youngsters must say, this is my country. I want to work 70 hours a week. This is exactly what Germans and Japanese did after the Second World War.
So you've just heard these two comments, right? And you perhaps were amongst those people who viciously trolled these two gentlemen for saying that you could or should be working 90 hours and 70 hours a week. You know what? I don't entirely disagree with what they have said. Therefore, I put my neck out there. Do not chop it off. Do not troll me, because I intend to give you reasons for why I believe they are not that out of line. Let me start my argument by telling you by a little story. This is not something that really happened, but this is illustrative of my argument. Now imagine a day that the Indian cricket team has played very badly against Pakistan. We've dropped catches, we've hit some slogs which our batsmen have been caught, while the Pakistanis have been very aggressive, very focused, and they've completely outplayed us in the field. Now at the end of the day's play, our very crestfallen, shoulders drooping players walk into the dressing room, and they face a captain who is shaking in anger. He is really angry, and he says, come here, come to a huddle, and let me tell you what happened today. Imagine if the captain says these lines. What happened, guys? Do you want the world to say that we Indians are idiots? The Pakistanis are the best, most aggressive, impossible to defeat? Do you want me to just stand around? Should I just admire how they kill us? Now, in this imaginary line, the captain has used some very angry and some very absolute terminology, right? He said idiots, aggressive, impossible, defeat, killed. But remember, he has said this in a huddle to his team players, to people who have shared the day's play, who have a shared legacy of playing matches together. This is not something he has said in a press conference broadcast to the world. And this is not something he said for every match that they've played. He has spoken about this in the context of a particularly humiliating defeat that they suffered on that day. Now imagine if some very vicious smart trolls were to extract some of these words of the captain and were to edit them out and were to put them in a meme or an Instagram clip, and were to then say the headline of the clip could be, India's cricket captain is a Pakistan loving Gaddar. He is a Desh Drohi. That's the headline. Then they cut to a clip which is edited of what the captain said, and the edited clip reads, we Indians are idiots. The Pakistanis are the best, most aggressive, and impossible to defeat. I just admire how they kill us. Now, can you imagine if this statement is put out, the kind of trolling that would happen to the captain? People would say boycott him, people would say bulldoze his house, and frankly, I'm not even going into the kind of things they would say, the kind of rape and death threats that would be given to his wife and his sisters and his daughters. I'm not even going there. But all of that, happens. So you now get what I'm driving at, right? I mean, a comment is made in a particular context. It's made within a close group of people. It's made with people who have a shared legacy. It's made with people with whom you have a history. So therefore, the words that you use in this closed group, those words have a special nuance, have a special meaning within the context of that shared closed group. Those words cannot literally be taken at their very sterile dictionary meaning. It's not a public proclamation. So none of you or I need to get riled up because it's not aimed at us. It's said in a closed group. It's not, as I said, advice on a population scale. It's not something that he wants you or I to do. It's something, again, that is said in a closed group with people with whom you share a legacy. But as we've seen, mischievous trolls can twist these words around, and then that can create all kinds of mayhem on social media. So now let's go to the controversy that's convulsing Gen Z. This is the two remarks that you saw at the top of the video, particularly the remark made by S.N. Subrahmanyan, the chairman of Larsen and Toubro. I would like to add here that L&T is a very storied Indian corporate, has done some stellar work in infrastructure projects in India and across the world. And what Mr. Subrahmanyan said, remember, is to a closed group of people who work with him, possibly people who report to him, and they therefore work very closely and they share a lot of experiences and legacies. But before we go further, let's read exactly what he said. Exactly. I regret I am not able to make you work on Sundays. If I am able to make you work on Sundays, I will be happier because I work on Sundays. Nothing wrong with that. That's just my addition. I work on Sundays. What do you do sitting at home? How long can you stare at your wife? Break. There was no break in his statement, but I am breaking it here because I want you to note the point at which I am breaking the statement, and then I will continue with what he continued with. How long can the wife stare at the husband? Get to the office and start working. Let me put another break here because I'll refer to all of this later. Chinese people work 90 hours a week while Americans work only 50 hours a week. If you want to be on top of the world, you have to work for 90 hours a week. Now see the first point of mischief. Most of the trolls, most of the memes were truncated at the first break that I told you about. The first break, note, how long can you stare at your wife? They are all truncated here. Therefore, naturally, liberals are outraged. Sexist remark, gender shaming. How do you assume that the woman just sits at home and does nothing? How do you assume that you are the guy who being a man can work? So there's a lot of comeback at him for that. But the reality is that that's not all that he said. He goes on to say in the very next remark, continuous remark, how long can the wife stare at the husband? But that has been cut out by the trolls and the memes. So what he's really saying is that in our household, possibly both myself and my wife, both of us really do get bored on Sundays just lounging around doing nothing. Perhaps it's better for both of us to be out there working. Now he has, as I said in a specific context, he's not said at all that I am the macho man, I am the patriarch, I get bored sitting at home, I must go and work, while my wife, it's all right, whether she gets bored or not doesn't matter. No, he's equally said that she also gets bored and possibly is happier to do what he does. And frankly, I can tell you about a lot of households, especially households which are empty nesters, where the children have gone away to study or to work, and therefore there is just the husband and the wife in the house. In a lot of those households, a lot of people will not disagree with what Mr. Subrahmanyan had to say. Because really, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with saying that I get bored on a Sunday if I don't have much to do, so I'd rather be out working. Now to the second, quote unquote blasphemous thing that he said. That is the second break that I inserted. If you want to be on top of the world, you have to work for 90 hours. Now I'll ask you a few questions. Did he say you will be sacked if you don't work for 90 hours every week? If he had said that, that would be coercive. But he did not say that. Did he say L&T will not employ you unless you work for 90 hours every week? If he had said that, that would be discriminatory, but he did not say that. Did he say L&T will pro rata reduce your salary if you work for less than 90 hours every week? If he had said that, that would be illegal, but he didn't say that. Also, did he literally mean 90 hours, or was he using the number 90 as a metaphor for doing excessively hard work? If he was using it as a metaphor, and I believe he was, I believe all of us do that, then it's wrong to just flog the 90 number on that comment, because he was using it, I believe, as a metaphor. So now, I've just, with my questions and answers, shown you that Mr. Subrahmanyan did not say anything that amounts to being coercive or discriminatory or illegal. He expressed a point of view. He used a metaphor. He expressed his conviction. He expressed an opinion. Everybody, you, I, everybody is free in our country to have an opinion, to have a conviction. Everybody is free to work the number of hours that they want to or need to. Whether it's 0, whether it's 10, 20, 30, 40 a week, it's our choice what we opt for. Therefore, it really boils down to a conviction, and it's a matter of a personal choice. So, Mr. Subrahmanyan, in my opinion, expressed a choice, and God bless him for that. You, as a right-thinking adult, I, as a right-thinking adult, we are free to make our choices, and of course, God bless us as well. India, as a functioning democracy, must respect every bona fide opinion, must respect every personal choice, and of course, God bless India too. That's the point I'm trying to make. If you express your personal choice and opinion, what's the need to troll, to abuse, to ridicule, to misinterpret? You can have a sensible disagreement, but you don't have to take it into extreme ridicule. So now I'll end with a postscript. Everything that I've said here applies as much to when Mr. Narayana Murthy said that you must that he believes people in India need to work for 70 hours every week if India needs to get developed. Everything that I've said here applies to that. But I think the kind of trolling that happened for both the gentlemen, Mr. Subrahmanyan and Mr. Narayana Murthy, I think the trolling was in the in the scientific 70 to 90 ratio. I think Mr. Subrahmanyan got the higher end of that ratio. So I end today's Raghav's take with a small request to all my colleagues at the place that we work at. Don't troll me for what I've said. I don't expect you to work for 90 hours a week, even though I may want to work 90 hours a week. There's no one's going to be forced here to do that. So spare me the trolling.